Hello Recruit, and welcome to an Astroneer Academy 105 Extra for print filters. These handy little devices provide a filtering system for existing printers and are just one of many additions that Exodynamics has managed to introduce to the Astroneer training program, despite still being unable to rescue us from it. Let's take a look at all of the details of these three items. All three print filters provide the same basic functionality, so let's first look at their specific details. They are unlocked in the research catalog for only 500 bytes each, and are all created using resin. The small print filter is created on your backpack printer from 1 resin, the medium print filter is created on the small printer from 2 resin, and the large print filter is created on the medium printer from 3 resin. When unpacked, they range from a small Tier 1 item up to a large Tier 3 item with the corresponding size storage slots atop each one. Unfortunately, there is currently no way to filter the backpack printer. The attachment slots atop the print filters are a bit unique, with a dark outline surrounding the attachment slots that corresponds to the shape of the various printers. This outline, along with the metallic contact pads, would seem to suggest that you must align the printer specifically to the orientation of that outline. But this is just not the case. You can rotate the printer around to face any direction you wish, and it will still work just fine with the print filter. The visual design surrounding the attachment slot on a print filter is not the only thing that makes it unique, however. These attachment slots will only accept printers and nothing else. You can stubbornly try to attach other items as much as you want, but they will always refuse to connect to a print filter attachment slot. Given the dark outline atop each print filter, you might assume that you can only use a print filter with the corresponding size printer. That would be an incorrect assumption, however. The only printer that is limited to a specific print filter is the large printer, as it is simply too large to connect to a small or medium print filter. You can, however, place 2 small printers atop a medium print filter or 2 medium printers atop a large print filter. You can even place 1 medium printer and 2 small printers on a large print filter, and the print filter will allow you to filter options for both printer sizes. You do need to attach a printer to a print filter in order to interact with it, however. If you attempt to use a print filter that has no printer attached, the control panel will simply display inactive and you will be unable to navigate through any of the settings. With a printer placed on top, you can interact with the print filter to open its control panel and view the categories of items available in the slotted printers. While I am demonstrating this via a small print filter, the functionality is the same for all 3 print filter types. Let's take a closer look at the print filter control panel. At the very top, in the darkest blue section, the control panel displays both the icon and the name of the printer you are currently able to select options for. To the left, there is a column of blue dots that correspond to the columns of items as they are presented in the research catalog and the printers themselves. You can scroll up and down through this column of dots using the appropriate arrow keys on the control panel or the corresponding input of your preferred input type. You can refer back to the Astropedia if you need assistance with basic controls when using a mouse and keyboard or a controller. Unlike the column of dots on a printer control panel, you can select a category of items in a print filter even if you do not have any of them unlocked in the research catalog. As you scroll through each category, the dot to the left will be highlighted in white, and the items contained within the selected category will appear just to the right in the large lighter blue portion of the control panel. The very top line of this lighter blue area of the control panel will display the current category filter state, visible or hidden. If a category is visible, the corresponding dot in the column to the left will be blue, as long as that category is not the one you currently have selected, and you will be able to print those items with the attached printer. If the category state is set to hidden, the corresponding dot to the left will be magenta when that category is not selected on the print filter control panel, and you will be unable to print those items via the attached printer. Not to put too fine a point on it, but the dot to the left will always be white to indicate the selected category, and will only be blue or magenta if you have selected a different category. Just below the category filter state is a list of items in each category. While most categories contain several items, there are some that will only contain a single item. Each item includes both its name and its corresponding item icon. The largest icon on the display corresponds to the item currently named on the display, while the smaller icons represent other items in the selected category. Each item will display for a few seconds before cycling to the next item, and the entire display will loop back through all of the items for as long as you have the category selected. To toggle the selected category from visible to hidden, or vice versa, simply double press the big green button to the bottom right of the control panel. Items from hidden categories will not be available via the attached printer, but you can easily re-enable those items on any given printer by toggling the corresponding category back to visible. It is worth repeating that a print filter will display all items within a selected category even if you have not yet unlocked their schematics in the research catalog. I have encountered a few Astroneers who were a bit confused about this point, as they assumed they could print anything displayed on a print filter by using the attached printer. If a category is enabled in the print filter, but you still cannot print it with the attached printer, you'll need to unlock those schematics in the research catalog. Speaking of the research catalog, if it has been a while since you interacted with it, you might be wondering where the packager schematic went. It was previously on the top row of the first tab of the research catalog, but has since been relocated to its own category at the very bottom row of the same tab. I suppose this relocation was necessary to resolve a bug surrounding packagers when the print filters were first introduced. At the very bottom of the print filter control panel display, there are 3 dots. One of these will typically be blue, while the other 2 will be magenta. These 3 dots indicate which printer is attached to the print filter, with the small printer being represented by the left dot, the medium printer by the one in the middle, and the large printer by the dot to the right. It is possible to have 2 of these dots appear blue, however. If you have 2 different sizes of printers attached to a single print filter, you can easily navigate between the filtering options for each printer size by using the right or left arrows of the control panel to switch between the printer categories. The first 2 dots at the bottom of the printer control panel will both be blue, providing an additional visual indicator that you can select between the options for the different sizes of attached printers. Given that it is not currently possible to attach all 3 printers to a single print filter, you will not encounter a situation in which all 3 of these dots are blue at the same time. While this next point may be obvious to some, I want to ensure there is no confusion regarding which printers will be filtered by the selected options. If you have 2 printers on the same platform and only one of them is attached to a print filter, only that attached printer will be impacted by the selections you make in the print filter control panel. Additionally, all printers attached to a single print filter will share the exact same filtering options. So if you wish to utilize multiple printers with different filtering options, you will need to deploy a print filter for each. It should also be pointed out that print filters do not contain any power cable plugs, so you will need to place them on a platform that is connected to your power network. You will be able to access the control panel of an unpowered print filter, but you will not actually be able to print anything unless the print filter and its attached printer are connected to a powered platform. This is true for even the smaller printer, which on its own can be a freestanding item that features its own power cable plugs. When you attach the small printer to a print filter, those power cable plugs are no longer available, so it too must be placed on a platform that's connected to your power network. The print filters are incredibly useful tools that allow you to hide categories of items you rarely print, helping you avoid the endless scrolling that we have all encountered when trying to select an item we wish to print. You might be wondering why this functionality requires an entirely separate item and wasn't built directly into the printers themselves. You know, Recruit, that's a very valid question, but I'm afraid I don't have a clear answer for it. Personally, I also wonder why the print filters are limited to simply hiding only entire categories instead of individual items. Being able to select specific items within each category would be a massive improvement over the print filter's current functionality. Exodynamics isn't always the greatest at communicating why things work the way they do, however, so these questions remain a mystery known only to them. The print filters do inspire hope that, perhaps one day, Exodynamics will figure out a way to bring a much needed overhaul to the user interface for each printer. In the meantime, we can at least enjoy that the current implementation allows us to use a large print filter to hide the various categories for 2 or more printers at once, instead of needing to set filtering options on each printer individually. That brings us to a pro tip sent to us by evilgardengnome, great name, by way of Discord. In our previous extra course discussing printers, we mentioned a handful of ways that you can supply resources to a printer and even automate that process. evilgardengnome reminded us of yet another way that you can create a rudimentary automated printing process, and it does not require anything more than the printer and your backpack. If you have the required resources in your backpack when you select an item to print, they will automatically transfer to the printer. But if you keep the printer control panel open with the print repeat button selected, the printer will continue to pull resources from your backpack until those resources are depleted. On top of that, if you leave the repeat function enabled and return to the printer later with the required resources in your backpack, the printer will resume pulling those resources to continue printing the selected item. This is an incredibly useful process, though it is not without a possible downside. If you forget that you left the printer on repeat and return to it later to print a different item that requires the same resources, the printer will once again take those resources from your backpack and begin printing that item. If you're quick enough, you can cancel that print by hitting the big green button on the printer control panel, usually while in a bit of a panic, and those resources will be restored on the printer, ready for you to select a new item to print. Thanks to evilgardengnome for sending us this timely pro tip. If you have a pro tip or best practice you would like to share for inclusion in upcoming courses, or if you simply want to speed up our production process by helping us edit course draft scripts, then please visit the link below for the Vainglorious Discord server and be sure to select the Astroneer Academy role during onboarding. Before we wrap up today, I want to explore one of the countless possible use cases for the print filters. Let's imagine you wish to recreate every item you see on this rover so you can create one for each planet. Without the print filters, you'll be scrolling back and forth through dozens of items you do not currently need to print. With the proper settings on a print filter, I can exclude all of the categories for all of those items I currently do not need, making it much easier to get to the items that I do wish to print. If I attach these to a platform large enough to also accommodate storage of all the resources I will need to create the items for the rover, I now have a handy one-stop station that I can come back to and quickly begin creating new rovers and all of the equipment that I need. Today, you have been introduced to the print filters and their control panels, learning how to toggle categories from visible to hidden, and explored a fairly simple use case. If you have been following our courses in the order they were published, then your next course will be an Astroneer Academy 204 Extra, exploring the stacked platforms. If, however, you are following our courses as they appear in the official Astroneer Academy playlist, then your next course is an Astroneer Academy Quick Bite for finding an incredibly high-value research item in an incredibly dangerous region, followed by Astroneer Academy 106, where you'll be introduced to basic transportation. Until then, I'm Brandon, reminding you to keep looking to the stars.